Record. So again, we are now on, I mailed myself. We are now on life processes. Are we life processes? Oh no. Scientific methods, data data, no? And then we are going to proceed with microscopy and measurements. Tama ba ko, Ivy? Oh my God. Nanigulang na jud ko. Ivy.
Yes, di.
Microscopy na ta, no? Or humanan ta?
Wala pa ta sa microscopy ata din.
Yeah, and I told you we will skip scientific method now because we're done with this one already. Nag-ana-ana manggug ko na life process na tayo. So, this will just be quick, I guess, no? Pila lang man and almost all of you are done with microscopy, I guess. Naka-answer na mo, 'di ba? Okay? So, in microscopy, this is really very basic because it's the only way that we can see microscopic organisms, no? But not really to the point na makakita na kaoga ng virus, no? Only fungal and bacterial level. And even sa bacteria, you need to still have a dye, no? Kailangan mo ng what do you call that? I forgot, but this will be mentioned here in the topics anyway. So these are the parts of the microscope. Of course, you are very familiar with this one. And so we in the microscope, we use lenses in order to make a very small object bigger or make it visible to our naked eyes. So of course, we have eyepiece that could be only one or two. And we say we have coarse focus kaning knob na atong ginatuyok-tuyok, and fine focus for the knob na ginatuyok-tuyok nato pod, no? And I just have to mention it again kasi basig nakalimot na mo microscope kay wala na tayo face to face. And of course, this is the stage, the nose pieces, and the objectives, whether kung unsa siya ka klaro o kalayo. And of course, you need the clips for the stage, and we call it diaphragm, and of course mirror. And so you are supposed to know exact the different parts of this microscope. By the way, if you notice in your experience before, when you do the coarse and the fine focus, no, mo nay nagapalayo og nagapaduol og nagapaklaro sa mga object. So you just have to control the knob, no? So what do we measure in microscopy, no? To make the object enlarge, of course, and of course, as I have just said, para mastudihan na to ang mga organisms, cells, part cells, yung mga para ma-magnify siya to larger, and to make the details more clear, which is also called we refer it to resolution. So therefore, microscope can be different, no? They have different types and also capacities based on their magnification and resolution. Good evening, Steph. Yeah. So as you can see here, as I have said, yung ang cells ng different organisms would range from this nanometer to 1 kilometer, no? So yung visible lang sa naked eye natin, no, is the cellular, eto na part, the cellular portion. But this one, I guess, high-tech. This is a polyvirus, and I guess this is genetic something. So more or less starting from the cell, no, going, of course, in this case we don't need na up to here lang, no, 100 micrometer hanggang 1 millimeter, and beyond that 1 centimeter, maklaro na nato. Okay. So as I have said, we have different types of microscope. We have simple, compound, stereoscopic, and electron. So let's differentiate them one by one. So pag simple microscope lang siya, it's just like the magnifying glass. If you are fond of magnifying glass, no, or lens, so ginagamit siya since like mga siguro 1700s, no? Mga 1700s para katong dili ka basa og gagmay kay ngano sa una man pud mahilig kay sila magbasa og magpuring og mga or magsulat og mga very maliliit na mga characters or letters. So it is even designed like this, no? Naka one lens lang siya. But it still have the very important parts. Now this is a compound microscope wherein you let the light pass through the object using and then through the lenses, no? So of course sometimes this is a high-tech na compound microscope kasi may switch on na siya for you don't need na parang you don't need the sunlight para makita ka kag light, no? But you can turn on para mag-produce na siya light and then makita na nimo siya. So this there are also other variation of this compound microscope. So this is the typical compound light microscope wherein you can mount the specimen in your glass slides, and which is you use thinly sliced and it's very small. And also you use your eyepiece, no, for your eye, as your lens, and this objective lens or which is attached to your nose piece. Now once you have the light here, whether it came from the sunlight or it is electric, so the light will project the specimen here. So in this compound light microscope, you can use actually live specimen na nagsiling diha nga mga bacteria actually, no, or mga protists, mga single cell protozoan and whatever. And that's the time na that's why actually baliktad mo makita, no, i-project siya when you see it in your eyes. So when you say magnification, it will be determined by multiplying power both of the lenses. So for example, ang eyepiece nimo na siya 10 times magnification, and then you use in the nose piece kanina itong lenses dito, mga objective lens or in the nose pieces. So nana siya 5 times, 10 times, or 20 times, 40 times, and even 100 times, no? And this is the highest maximum magnification, 1,000 times. So i-multiply lang nimo na siya, for example, therefore that is your magnification. Kasi it's very important when you do the report, like you took a photo of your specimen under a microscope, and then pag-report nimo na niya, kailangan ibutang nimo kung how many times magnification. For example, 20 times 10 is 200 times magnification. Tama ba ko? Steph? 20 times 10. Shit. Yeah, 200. Okay. So, and the third kind is the electron microscope. And in this case, this is very high tech na, as you can see. It's even bigger than a human person. So in this case, this machine uses a magnetic field to bend the beams of electrons. That's why it's so-called electron microscope. And instead of using the lenses, yung ating magnification na salamin, they use the, instead of using lens to bend the beams of light, they use the electrons, no, to, or magnetic field para i-bend yung beams of electrons. So in the electron microscope, you cannot use to view the living specimen because of the yung what do you call that, the preservation procedure for in use for the specimen to be used in electron microscope. So we have the so-called transmission EM or TEM. No, with this will produce enlarged image of the very thinly sliced specimen or on screen or photographic plate. So in this also photographic plate, the image is focused by magnetic lenses. So you use the magnetic lenses for magnification, and this is capable of magnifying up to 200,000 times magnification. So ganun siya ka high-tech. In fact, no, using the scanning EM, you can have a 3D or three-dimensional image, no, and specimen wherein specimen not sliced for viewing, and the surface will be spread with fine metal coating, kaya hindi talaga pwede siya sa mga live specimen. So, and this uses electron beam and fluorescent screen or photographic plates. So these are also can magnify 100,000 times, and yeah, again, it cannot be used with live specimen. And the last type is the stereoscopic microscope. But before that, let me just check. Pwede na actually, dili ko mag-check. Sanga. Wait lang. So, in the third type of microscope, so in the third type of microscope, this will give you na a 3D or three-dimensional view ng object. You can make use na of a whole insect and leaves, no? So this is like this is also high tech, but it's different with electron microscope. So they are both mga high tech, but then they have different uses. It's okay, Steph. So then we usually in almost manual na mga microscope, we actually use yung mga lenses, no, which are exactly, of course, the same principle when we use the magnifying lens ko ni. Yeah, and also etong eyeglasses, no, in which this lens have the ability to enlarge an image by bending light toward the eyes or the eyepiece in your eyes in the case of ating eyeglasses. So these are the eyepiece lenses, no, and usually it has the power of 10 times magnification. So again, para makuha mo yung magnification niya, kasi whenever you report a photograph of a specimen under microscope, kailangan i-report mo din anong magnification ba niya to. So i-multiply mo lang again kung ano ang eyepiece na magnification, like 10 times, and objective lens dun sa nose piece like 20 times. So again, you have 200 times total magnification. So can you imagine, no, kanina ang electron microscope is capable of measuring 200,000 times magnification. So ganun siya ka high-tech. So actually, ang lenses natin, objective lenses yung nasa nose piece, are classified as low power pag 4 times siya, medium pag 10 times, and high powered 40 times. So now, we proceed with metric system. We know that through microscopy, we can measure or the characteristic of the organisms that are not visible through our naked eyes, but through the microscope. And again, we have different types of microscope from the very traditional ones hanggang sa ating napaka high-tech na electron microscope and stereoscopic. So in the metric system, we use this for scientific measurements. So let's do this one by one. So we call them SI units or metric system, and it is being used by the whole world except us. No, these are example of the units acceptable for with SI. So for example, itong minute, hour, day. No, ito yung mga abbreviation, liter, metric, tons. Like for 1 minute, 60 seconds. So although hopefully at this level, you know already the equivalence of various measurements. It's all right if you don't remember, but like for example, very common naman po that, no? Like for when we say 1 hour, of course it's 60 minutes. But when we convert it to seconds, no, it's we barely use it, no, for 3,600 seconds, and so on. So I know we all know that, like in 1 tons, that's 1,000 kilogram. You know, so we usually sa ating mga Philippine Statistic Authority, they are already using kilogram pa ata gihapon nilang gina-report, no, instead of tons per hectare. But mostly in the world they use tons per hectare. And other are in the metric system, we have we need to know the different equivalents, no, and their abbreviations. Like when you say pico is the smallest and giga is the highest, no, it means like giga means is it 1 million billion, no, 1 billion, and then mega, of course, 1 million, and then when we say kilo, it's equivalent to 1,000, and hecto 100, deca 10, and deci 0.1, centi 0.01, milli hundreds or tens ang centi, and micro is point equivalent siya sa marag 100,000, no, point. And nano is equivalent siya sa 1 to 3 sa I think 1 million, no, I think nara rin, no, pwede ra ninyo i-confirm. And pico is the 369 billion pico. So again, highest, giga, and pico smallest. So other mga metric system used in biology in terms of area, we use square meter, volume, cubic meter, mass density, kilogram per cubic meter. So ito yung mga abbreviation niya. Specific volume, cubic meter per kilogram, and Celsius temperature. Usually, Philippines use degree, but the rest of the world uses Celsius, no? So in terms naman of minute, hour, day, liter, metric, tons, so ito yung mga equivalent na I think na-mention na yan earlier. So in the metric system, it is actually developed by the French, no, in 1700s. So it's usually based on tens and very easy to use, and used in all countries except the USA, especially sa mga scientists, and abbreviated as SY. So pag SI, it means, actually SI kasi is French, which is System International, but in English it's just metric system. So we use, again, regardless of the unit, the entire metric system uses mga prefixes. So again, pag kilo, 1,000 yan. Pag centi, 1/100, and milli is 1/1,000, and 1 meter is 100 centimeters, or 1,000 centimeters, ay millimeters. Okay, so but then if you just forgot, you can always Google. So in terms of length, it's very easy to measure kasi we use meter, no? And then we have different types of rulers. In terms of mass, when you say mass, it's the amount ng matter that makes up an object, no? Each object has a mass, therefore. Like for example, golf ball and ping pong ball, they said they have the same size, but golf ball has a lot more matter in it. So the golf ball will have more mass. So of course, why? Why is it? Anyone?
Okay, ano ma'am, mas more iyang matter niya.
Yes, because of its available matter, 'di ba? Ang golf, mara siya gisuksok nga mga matter nga, ginasuksok nga mga as in siya ba, embedded talaga siya. Like ping pong, actually it's a ball na hollow siya sa sulod. That's why it has less mass, of course. So the more the matter, the more the mass. So yung metric system unit is for mass is we use gram. And like a paper clip, just for a reference, it has 1 gram. So depende po na siya sa kagamay sa paper clip. And the mass of an object usually will not change unless we add or subtract matter from it. No, kanang kuan gid siya og unod. And how do we measure mass? Hindi lang siya basta-basta gina-measure, no? Using a weighing scale or whatever. We usually use a tripole or triple beam balance para mag-measure ng mass kasi the very special characteristic of the beam balance is because of its gravity pulls equally on both sides. So have you used this triple beam balance before? Nakagamit na mo ane? Yeah, hopefully in your chemistry, no? So you will get there for the same mass no matter what planet you are on, no? But we can definitely be anywhere other than Earth, no? But then since gravity actually changes, even we are on the same Earth, do you know that? Na pwede mag-change ang gravity? As you go up, and in the sky, charot, kung magawas na ka sa Earth, and then when, of course, when you go space, and then gravity pulls you from different parts, but then Earth has its own gravity. That's what pulls us down. No, that's why mahulog ta. And that is also when we measure weight, our weight, no, it's not actually the thing that we're thinking kasi ang atong mga weighing scale mamaya makita nyo is actually marag ng minus siya nga, minus the gravity, no? So if ever, and also as I have mentioned, when you are in the part somewhere, I forgot the area, siguro marag na siya somewhere sa Canada or sa southern USA, somewhere California, there's actually a field na the gravity is nakadungog na mo ana, Christy, Ivy, na I place in other, actually you can Google that You can Google or you can YouTube that one. Na naay mga place sa Earth na walay gravity, less or less, marag less naman to ako na nadungog. Less lang ang gravity, no? Wala mo kadungog ana. Si Ivy ra ang nag-video. So si Ivy ra ko makita. So anyway, yeah. You can Google that. But then we are running out of time. So let's just go back on that. So when we say weight, it's the measure of the force of the gravity of an object. So we usually use weight for any object, including our weight, human weight, animal weight. But then take note that it's not only because of our weight, because it's a measure of the force of the gravity of an object. So the more weight we are, and the more also the gravity of that is pulling us. So therefore, our weight can change depending on the force of gravity. So as I have said, Earth, although we will never go to another planet, but then inside the Earth, there are actually places na less lang ang gravity. And then the metric system for weight is actually Newton, N. And the English unit for weight is pound. That's why if you have heard it, na ay mga packages or mga kuan na ang pounds ang ginagamit for weight. So since ang US lang ang medyo lahi o ganang ginagamit, kita tanan nagagamit yung metric system except for US. So they have their own English system, They use pound and we use. And now, how do we measure gravity? So we actually compute them by since it is the force of attraction between two objects with mass, Yung mass, yun talaga yung laman natin, yung matter. So the forces depends on the distance. So more distance, less gravity and less weight, and less distance, more gravity and more weight. So of course, more gravity, more weight, but less distance, and more distance, I mean the wideness of the object. So more distance, I mean dili pala wideness, ang distance ng fall, and less gravity is less weight. And more mass, when we speak of mass, it's actually the gram, It's the more mass, of course, the more gravity and the more weight, and the less mass, the less gravity and the less weight. So as again we say, we use our weight, I mean ang kabugaton nato, ang ginagamit nato weight, kay more computation na siya sa including na siya sa gravity, and which is true kasi we are still again kanang affected or influenced by gravity of the earth. So for example, ang mass and weight nimo sa earth 1 gravity, in terms of weight 300 newton ka, but in terms of mass 30 kilogram ka. But if you are in the 1/6, if you are in the moon, there is in the 1/6 it's only 1/6 of gravity. So mag-change yung your actual mass mo is 30 kilogram lang, So that's constant. But then if you are in the moon, magiging 50 newton lang siya, and 70-50 newton sa Jupiter kasi it has more gravity, and zero gravity if you are on the orbit, so 0 newton. So therefore, in terms of mass, you don't really change. So when we speak of volume, we already know this when during basic education, that volume is equal to the length times width times height, And we use actually a graduated cylinder for liter volume kasi it's you don't use a test tube. Although may mga test tube kasi na ay mga line din, measurement. or but then the the standard for measuring liter is graduated cylinder. And when you measure liquid volume, yeah, it is decided that 1 centimeter cube of water would equal also to 1 millimeter of water, and then 1 ml of water will have a mass of 1 gram. So kaya if you are if you're measuring a powder like 1 gram, so equivalent po na siya sa 1 ml. So or 1 centimeter cube water is 1 ml of water and 1 gram. So when you measure actually water, so it has this so-called water displacement. So I know you already know this. Therefore, it means that when you put object as seen here, it will actually increase its volume, no? Causing the level na mag-increase, and that's also makes sense, no? So again, water mass and volume, so one still equivalent to 1 ml and 1 gram. So therefore, i-multiply lang nimo 50 for 50 ml, di multiply ha for 50 ml is equal to 50 grams, and 1 liter is 1,000 ml or 1,000 grams or 1 kilogram. So but then I am saying na kasi like for sugar, and let's say kung water lang siya, you can definitely say na 1 kilogram or centimeter cube water is equivalent to 1 kilogram powder kung purely water lang siya. Pero kung naana siya, medyo dense na siya, or naana siya something na mix, so that's another story or different story. But more or less, when you speak of water or liquid, that's the standard agreement. So when we say density, it's the amount of matter or mass compared to the amount of space or volume of an object that it occupies. So therefore, when we say density, there's mass in grams and volume in centimeter cube or ml. Okay, so density formula is mass over volume. So you divide the mass by the volume. So the unit for that is gram per ml or gram per centimeter cube. So for a formula wheel naman, this is best, you can best remember using mass over density, volume, density, mass over volume. Pareho na siya. And just to understand density, no, each gram will represent 1 gram. And for example, in this one, so if this is 1 gram, so that would just mean that it's the mass all in all is 24 grams and it's 8 centimeter cube. Therefore, the density is 3 kilogram over by centimeter cube if you are going to divide 24 over 8, no? So there are 3 grams in every centimeter cube. So that's just another problem, not that is to give another example and another problem. So when we say water and density, it's always 1 gram of water or 1 ml, then 1 gram per ml. So this is another illustration just to multiply for 50 ml and 1,000 ml. So therefore, why do we float and why do we sink? Because less dense materials actually float on top of more dense materials. So for example, kung balloon ka or kanang salbabida, therefore less dense ka, so more dense ang water. But when you're going to put a needle which is very dense than the water, so mo ano jud ka, mo ano yun siya sa tawag na mag-sink, no? It's same with people. Bugat ka or busukay ka, no? But when you go to the Dead Sea, of course, you will always float, no? So that's the neutral buoyancy. So objects with density equal to the density of water will float in the mid-water at whatever level you place the object. Like fish and submarines control their depth by changing their density. So for talaga ang fish. So sa mga submarines or mga submarines,